Premier to replace Chief Minister. Malaysia to attract foreign investors in energy sector. And developments in Ukraine being closely monitored. Those are the headlines for tonight. I'm Henry Gui and this is TVS Nightline. The first session of the first term of the 19th Sarawak State Legislative Assembly or DUN sitting will convene for 3 days from today until Wednesday, February 16th. The first day saw no tabling of government bills or debate by the honourable members. Chief Minister Datuk Patinggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg today led elected representatives in taking their oaths before Speaker Tan Sri Muhammad Asfiar Awang Nassar on the first day of the DUN sitting. There was no opening ceremony for the conference by the head of state Tun Pehin Sri Abdul Taib Mahmud, with the House sitting directly beginning with a prayer recital at 9:17 a.m. However, the inauguration ceremony by the governor will be held at a later date to be determined by the state government. The 3-day DUN sitting will not have question and answer sessions and no winding up sessions by the ministers. The sitting this time also saw 18 elected representatives making their maiden appearance in DUN after winning their respective seats in the recently concluded 12th Sarawak election. The opposition bloc was only represented by 6 elected representatives led by Bawang Asan Assemblyman Dato Sri Wong Soon Koh. Meanwhile, Kuala Rajang Assemblyman Dato Len Talif Saleh and Report Assemblyman Dato Sri Huang Tiong Si will not be sitting for the 3-day DUN sitting after contracting COVID-19. DUN Speaker Muhammad Asfiar says the absence of leave was granted for the duo for the whole duration of the sitting as they are both under quarantine. Piasa Rap, who is also Assistant Minister of Tourism, Creative Industry and Performing Arts, Dato Sebastian Ting, has also been excused for the same reason. Ting will only be absent for today and tomorrow. The absence of leave for the 3 GPs lawmakers was granted under Standing Order 81. Now, the Constitution of the State of Sarawak Amendment Bill 2022 that is set to be tabled at the State Legislative Assembly tomorrow will see changes to the title of Sarawak's head of government from Chief Minister to Premier. Sarawak Youth, Sports and Entrepreneur Development Minister Dato Sri Abdul Karim Rahman Hamzah said Sarawak has a different status and position compared to other states according to Malaysia Agreement 1963 or MA 63 and the Federal Constitution.
Therefore, he said the positions of the Chief Minister of Sarawak can no longer be equalized as the position of the Chief Minister of Penang and the Chief Minister of Melaka.
Likewise, Chief Minister, I don't think we would want to be on par with Penang or Melaka, isn't it? When we formed Malaysia, the signatories for the federated and unfederated Malay states, there's only one representing them.
Meanwhile, another proposal in the bill to be tabled by Abdul Karim is for the post of Assistant Minister to be changed to Deputy Minister. In addition, he said the changes are subject to the rights agreed during the formation of Malaysia.
These are the kind of things that we have been fighting for all these years. The reason why we went down to London to study more on the IGC, on the MA 63, and then pursuant to that, we know that there have been some rights that have been eroded and things like that. So, and these are just part and parcel of all those little things that we are slowly trying to get back.
Abdul Karim is expected to table the Sarawak State Constitution Amendment Bill 2022 on the second day of the first meeting of the first term for the 19th Sarawak State Assembly DUN on Tuesday.
Now, the strong mandate entrusted to the Gabungan Party Sarawak GPS in the recently concluded 12th Sarawak state election is a clear indication that they want continuous development. First-term elected representatives Adam Yee for Pujut, Lidam Asan for Katibas, and Azizul Anwar Adenan for Tanjung Datu believe that they can bring in more development for their respective constituencies as part of the GPS government.
Speaking at a media conference held at the State Legislative Assembly Dune Complex, Yee was optimistic that the development will carry on smoothly under the GPS government.
The GPS government has a very strong mandate, and we hope with this strong mandate we can carry out our development for the state. We hope that the development of the state will carry on smoothly for the benefit of our people.
Meanwhile, Lidam acknowledged that developments in rural area is a daunting task. However, he expressed confidence that GPS would be able to achieve good results and improve the livelihoods of the people in rural areas, especially in Katibas.
We hope to improve the situation. I believe Sarawak GPS can do and can deliver these projects, the infrastructure, the internet connectivity, and all these things, the electricity, and most importantly, that is the social economy of the rural population. That is really a prime matters to us in the rural areas.
At the same time, Azizul was pleased to be chosen as the voice for his constituents and the youths across the state.
The government will continue to strengthen the national economic basis through the implementation of an open, transparent and business-friendly policies. Malaysian Ambassador to Japan, South Korea and Taiwan, Dr. Sri Richard Riyot said foreign investors from these countries will be brought into Malaysia with the main focus on solar energy.
He further added that the investment will involve several states, including Sarawak.
They will invest, and actually I wouldn't want to reveal the name of the company, but this interested company has actually already given a letter of intent, LOI. Jadi dia orang bukan main-main, wanting to invest about ringgit Malaysia 2 billion ringgit based on the LOI. Tetapi sebagai anak jati Sarawak, maka memangnya tumpuan saya adalah untuk membawa pelabur-pelabur dari Jepun, Korea Selatan, dan juga Taiwan ke negeri Sarawak.
He said so when met by reporters after a courtesy visit to the Chief Minister, Dato' Patinggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg, at the Sarawak State Assembly on Monday.
Various factors need to be examined before the tourism sector is fully operating without the implementation of the tourism bubble. The Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture, MOTAC, is now actively holding discussions, research and preparations with tourism ministries from various countries to implement Malaysia's border reopening. Although the government does not intend to open the country's border yet on March 1st, Nancy says her ministry is optimistic, citing the Langkawi domestic and international tourism bubble pilot project as a benchmark for the sector. There are 2 tourism bubble projects in Langkawi where it started on September 16th for domestic and November 15 for international. As of December 31st, it recorded a total visit of 720,000 domestic and foreign tourists and a total revenue of 750 million ringgit. As of February 9 this year, a total of 4,275 foreign tourists have visited Langkawi with no import cases reported. The country's ecotourism has been the Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture's or MOTAC main focus to ensure the sustainability of its products. A total of 17 handicraft entrepreneurs with 24 employees in Lubok Antu had been assisted by the government to expand their promotion and sales. As of September 30th, 2021, 169,000 ringgit sales has been made by the industry players in Lubok Antu.
Dan tadi menyentuh mengenai kawasan Lubuk Antu. Sebenarnya MOTEC memang ada dia punya yang disebutkan koridor-koridor pelancongan ini ataupun the tourism belt juga ditentukan di setiap negara. Jadi salah satu daripadanya lah di kawasan Lubuk Antu ini menerusi dengan pelan iko pelancongan kebangsaan. Kita ada iko pelancongan kebangsaan 2020-2030 yang merangkumi strategi dan juga pelan tindakan bagi memastikan kelestarian produk iko pelancongan kekal mampan.
MOTEC has identified an ecotourism cluster from Sri Aman, Batang Ai, Ulu Sungai Menyang, Meludam in Lubuk Antu area. It consists various popular tourism spots such as the Batang Ai National Park, Wong Merah Lubuk Antu, Lubuk Kasai Nangga Sumpa, and Sulai Waterfall and Red Ape Trail. All are seen as a potential to be developed holistically and will be beneficial to the local community well-being and at the same time generating better income. For that purpose, various capacity development programs will be held for the local tourism players in Lubuk Antu.
Jadi kita amat bertuah sekali, kita masih ada lagi rumah panjang katakan. Di Sarawak ini masih ada juga rumah panjang. Jadi ramai program-program yang dianjurkan untuk komuniti. Kita ada mempromosikan produk kraft kepada pelancong, antaranya program reka bentuk dan juga pembangunan kraft.
Touching on the promotional aspect, the initiative was implemented by Tourism Malaysia to promote unique tourism products in rural areas. However, the ecotourism cluster identified and proposed by the MOTEC requires understanding and cooperation with the state government. Nancy explained that every development plan proposed by the federal government must have the state government's consent. The Department of Labour Sarawak JTKS has implemented an outreach inspection operation program that aimed to approach the local community in Lusong Laku, Belaga. The outreach program, which is the first of its kind held in 2022, is to expand the enforcement of labour laws for employers in the inland areas. Among other initiatives of the program are to improve employers' awareness and responsibility in preventing forced labour and also improve the compliance of child labour.
Jabatan Tenaga Kerja Sarawak memandang serius sebarang isu yang berkaitan dengan penggajian buruh kanak-kanak di negeri ini. Ordinan Buruh Sarawak Bab 76 menyediakan peruntukan khusus berkaitan had dan sekatan berkaitan penggajian kanak-kanak seperti jenis pekerjaan yang boleh dilakukan, waktu bekerja yang dibenarkan dan jumlah hari bekerja yang dibenarkan. Peruntukan tersebut disediakan bagi melindungi kanak-kanak daripada dieksploitasi dan ditindas oleh pihak-pihak yang tidak bertanggungjawab.
If found guilty, they may be fined not exceeding 10,000 ringgit or imprisoned for a period of not exceeding 2 years or both. Offences of exploiting children as forced labour can also be taken action under the Anti-Trafficking in Persons and Anti-Migrant Smuggling Act 2007. Welcome back. The government does not differentiate individuals who commit any offence, including those who violate COVID-19 Standard Operating Procedures (SOP). Prime Minister Dato' Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob said anyone who commits an offence will be subject to action, including ministers or senior government officers. He was commenting on the compounds imposed by the Ministry of Health (MOH) on the organisers of an MIC Brigade launching ceremony, as well as several senior government leaders, including Senior Defence Minister Dato' Sri Hishamuddin Tun Hussein, for violating COVID-19 SOP at the event in Iskandar Putri, Johor yesterday.
Yang pentingnya tindakan diambil. Makna kerajaan tidak membeza-bezakan antara individu yang melakukan kesalahan. Dia boleh jadi menteri, dia boleh jadi timbalan menteri, dia boleh jadi ketua jabatan, dia boleh jadi sesiapa saja. Tidak ada konsep orang atas kayangan tak kena compound, orang bawah saja kena compound. Apa saja yang melakukan kesalahan, melanggar SOP akan dikenakan compound. Termasuk menteri tahanan dan lain-lain lah, tak kira siapa lah.
On Sunday, the Ministry of Health (MOH) had instructed 3 Barisan Nasional leaders who attended the launch of the MIC Brigade in Johor Bahru to be compounded for violation of the SOP. Its minister, Khairi Jamaluddin, had instructed MOH Putrajaya officers to issue compounds against MIC President Tan Sri Vigneswaran, Dato' Sri Hishamuddin, who is also the Barisan Nasional Treasurer General, and the chairman of Johor Barisan Nasional, Dato' Sri Hasni Mohamad. Meanwhile, on the Johor State Election SOP, Ismail Sabri said the matter will be announced by the Election Commission as an independent body that conducts election.
Jadi kita tak terlibat dari segi pendapat pandangan daripada Kementerian Kesihatan dan mereka akan umumkan SOP.
Based on the 2020 population and housing census, Malaysia's population is 32.4 million. Prime Minister Dato' Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob said the country's population registered a compound annual growth rate, or CAGR, of 1.7% over 10 years. Malaysians made up 29.8 million or 91.7% of the population, while non-citizens totaled 2.7 million or 8.3%. He further said 52.3% of the population are men and 47.7% women, giving a ratio of 110 men to 100 women.
Penemuan banci juga menunjukkan negeri yang mempunyai bilangan wanita melebihi lelaki adalah wilayah Persekutuan Putrajaya, di mana 100 orang wanita bersamaan 96 orang lelaki.
He said this when launching the report on key findings of population and housing census 2020. For statistics by ethnicity, the Bumiputra population recorded the highest percentage of 69.4%, followed by the Chinese 23.2%, Indian 6.7%, and others 0.7%. Meanwhile, in terms of age group, findings of 32.4 million Malaysian population showed 6.8% are aged 65 years and above, while 69.3% is those aged between 15 to 64 years, and the remainder 24% made up of those between the age of 0 to 14 years. Apart from that, Ismail Sabri said the findings were very much needed so that the government could formulate targeted policies and distribute fairly the country's wealth. He added that the census would be used as an evidence-based decision-making input in determining the per capita grants, key policy formulation, and benchmark in measuring the 2030 Sustainable Development Goals (SDGs).
Statistik dan data ini amat berkait rapat dengan pola berfikir dan seterusnya diolah kepada keputusan dan keberhasilan. Natijahnya, negara bakal melahirkan rakyat yang berminda kelas pertama selaras dengan aspirasi keluarga Malaysia ke arah mencapai negara maju pada tahun 2030.
Now, 13 Malaysians are currently stranded at Manila's Ninoy Aquino International Airport after the Philippines authorities refused to recognize their Malaysian digital COVID-19 vaccination credentials. The Malaysian embassy in Manila is currently on the ground to assist the travelers. It was reported that the 13 individuals were part of a group of 15 people who had traveled from Kuala Lumpur to Manila on Sunday, February 13. They were refused entry into the Republic and told that the Malaysian digital vaccine certificate in the My Sejahtera app was not an acceptable proof of vaccination. Meanwhile, their passports were confiscated and they were told that they will be deported on Tuesday and have to remain at the airport in the meantime as no hotel facilities were provided. The travelers were told by the Philippine immigration authorities that they needed to either have been vaccinated in another country, such as Singapore, or possess the World Health Organization's WHO International Certificate of Vaccination. It was also reported that the Malaysian ambassador to the Philippines had personally met the stranded passengers at the airport and was working on an appeal for vaccination reciprocity, but had yet to receive a response from the Philippine authorities. The Foreign Ministry is closely monitoring the developments in and around Ukraine, especially on the situation of Malaysian nationals in the country. Foreign Minister Dato' Saifuddin Abdullah has advised them to be prepared for any possibility that might occur following the international warning on the possibility of a war.
Meanwhile, Wisma Putra in a statement strongly urges any other Malaysians currently in Ukraine but have yet to register to immediately contact and register with the embassy. This will facilitate the embassy to extend consular assistance once they are in need of such assistance. At the same time, all Malaysians in Ukraine are advised to give utmost attention to their safety and well-being, as well as to adhere to instructions issued by local authorities. Malaysians requiring consular assistance in Ukraine are urged to contact Malaysia's embassy or via email. Ukraine has been plagued by conflict in its eastern regions since March 2014, following Russia's annexation of Crimea. Moscow recently amassed more than 100,000 troops near Ukraine, prompting fears that the Kremlin could be planning another military offensive against its former Soviet neighbor. Russia has denied that it is preparing to invade and accused Western countries of undermining its security through NATO's expansion towards its borders. Meanwhile, the Kremlin also issued a list of security demands to the West, including a rollback of troop deployments from some ex-Soviet states and guarantees that Ukraine and Georgia will not join NATO.
Now on to some global affairs. A fire broke out on Saturday, February 12 at Barcelona's hotel, forcing some people to jump off to escape, leaving 1 dead and 8 injured.
Catalan police said on Sunday that people were jumping off from windows onto mattresses piled by bystanders below. One person was transferred to Clinic Hospital in critical condition on Saturday, but died on Sunday. Police did not confirm the cause of death. Other 4 injured were transported to hospitals with less serious injuries, and 4 people were medically discharged on the spot. Catalan police are investigating the causes of the fire.
Now wrapping up the Nightline, a pair of lions in a London zoo were treated to a special Valentine's surprise in the hope that they will breed in the future. The 2 lions, Arya and Banu, were matched as part of the International Breeding Program for Endangered Species, coordinated by European Association of Zoos and Aquarius Big Cat Specialists.
Asiatic lions are now only found in the wild in one location worldwide, a forest the size of London in Gujarat, India, where approximately 500 of the animals live. Asset management company Lion Trust, a supporter of the ZSL, gifted the 2 lions with scented hearts made from recycled fire hose for the big cats to play with. Arya was first to notice the new Valentine's-inspired decor. Banu rubbed his face onto the cinnamon-scented heart. Long-time supporters of the zoo's Asiatic lions and its international conservation projects, Lion Trust stepped in 2021 to help with the final stages of a complex schedule that brought Arya to meet her future mate Banu at London Zoo.
And that concludes the Nightline for tonight. Once again, I'm Handy. Stay safe and have a pleasant evening.